talk about what we have on here. We have 3 USB outputs, and we have 3 12-volt outputs. I don't know that you could actually run 3 12-volt things off of these outputs. I've never tried, but you get 1 in the package. And then, of course, you have your AC output. You only get 1. I've connected extension cords to this to turn it into more than 1, but for all I know, that's just killing the battery even faster, and I don't know that how much it hurts or helps the efficiency of the device. On this side, we have the input, and we have a flashlight. Now, I actually have used this flashlight a lot. So yeah, it's obviously the sun's out right now, but it's pretty decently bright. It's easy to grab and walk around with on a campsite. And it has a flash for like an emergency. So this light is useful, and this light will work when this is almost empty. Like when this won't charge devices, this light will still work for a long time. I finally reached a point where it was dead, but I hadn't been able to charge it for days because the input, the AC charger, actually broke, so I haven't been able to use it. So I've been exclusively using the 12-volt charger to charge it while driving. And it just plugs into there. Same thing with the AC charger. And if you get a solar panel, then you have to either get an adapter that'll bring you down to this, and you have to figure out what this is. And I think it's 5.5 millimeter by 2.1 millimeter or something like that. And you'd have to get a converter or get a solar panel that already has this type of input, and they're hard to find, and most of them are cheap, and honestly, I personally feel not worth it. If somebody has used one of this device's clones or this device, feel free to discredit me right now. I've only used it with my 30 watt panel and my 12 watt panel, and it's just the charge isn't worth it. I mean, like, you lose some efficiency on solar panels anyway, depending on how overcast the sky is and all of those things. And I'm going to take my water bottle out the shot, and this just doesn't have enough power to be worth buying a bunch of cables to convert power down to this thing when I can just charge it whenever I'm driving. And I always say, everything is about your reason for doing this lifestyle. And if you're a person who stays still all the time, then like solar, for example, is like super important to you, because you want to be able to stay still and not move for a long time and know you're going to have power. Now, for me, I drive almost every freaking day, so just having this plugged in whenever I move the car, I read this from somebody else, ABC, always be charging. And so I just try to have it all ready to charge and go. And sometimes now that I have the other charging banks, I'll just leave this one charging for a couple of days, and then at some point I have plenty of extra power. So the good and the bad of this particular device. The good is that it got me through it. The good is exactly what it says it's supposed to do. It has done. It's still working for me to this day. There's been no real incidents of it not working, except when it didn't have enough power coming in to provide me a full strength of power going out. And that's the biggest downfall of this, is it takes a long time to charge this and not that much time to empty it out. Solar is possible, but if you're going to bother with solar, you might as well skip something like this and go to something by Goal Zero or Jackery or something like that. It is portable, which is really, really nice. Like, it's easy to carry into places, but it's also like roughly the size of like a lunchbox. So if you're already carrying gear and stuff like that, something like this is kind of big. Now, I know like people compliment the Jackery for the same reason. Its design isn't that much different from a Jackery. As far as like the actual box, it's not even anywhere near as good as the Jackery. Of course, now the sun is like in the worst position ever. But it's still kind of big. Like, it doesn't fall down, and it's easy to carry, but it doesn't like get thrown down in a backpack easily. The only real reason I still like that I have this, and I'm not upset I didn't skip getting it in the first place and go straight to regular power banks, is this. The only way I would be able to run a 12-volt appliance currently is by having the engine running. With this, I can just hook it up to one of the DC 12-volt outputs, power on the power and hook up a device that uses 12-volt power. Now, I will have to make sure that it's not too powerful for this. I just found out this actually isn't able to run my printer, which made me really sad. I plugged in the printer just knowing I was going to be fine, and it turns out the only way I can really run my printer is to literally have the car running and plug it in while the car is running and then just turn the car off. So it kind of dampened my power of the printer. But otherwise, it's okay, but it's definitely, if for camping trips, this is great. But for everyday life, I would say skip one of these. As soon as you see this international plug, it'll feel like a good thing. It's probably a sign that this is one of those multi-manufactured, many named devices on Amazon.